Something took place while you were not looking. Heaven became still. Not in the usual way silence settles. Slow, heavy, like something was ending. This was different. This was the kind of stillness that comes after something uncommon. The kind that happens when all of heaven turns toward the same thing at the exact same moment. And the thing heaven turned to see was you. I want you to hear what I am about to tell you, not as comfort. Hear it as truth. You have lived through things that fully intended to finish you, not simply discourage you, not only delay you, but finish you completely. There were seasons when the pressure never seemed to ease, when one difficult thing had barely ended before another arrived. When you had to keep deciding to rise, even though rising felt untrue. When you felt nothing like someone who would be okay, and still you did not completely stop. That is what drew heaven's attention. Not your strongest days, not the moments when everything seemed together. What caused heaven to become quiet were the moments when you were falling apart, and something inside you still reached toward me. A whisper when you had nothing remaining. A hesitant step back toward the place where you believed I was, even when you had no confidence that I would respond. You believed those were your weakest moments. Heaven saw them as something completely different. My child, you left me without words. I want you to remain with that. Not because you did everything well, not because your record was perfect, but because inside the place where pressure breaks most people, the hidden place no one else can see, you carried something that should have collapsed. You bent. I saw you bend. There were moments when I knew exactly how close you were to releasing everything. But there was one thread you continued to hold. Not firmly, sometimes only slightly. But you did not let it go. That thread was not stubbornness. It was not your own strength. I placed it there. What I plant is not easily pulled out. Even when the earth moved, the root remained. That is not something you created. That is something I placed in the deepest part of you. And the weight of everything this season brought against you proved that it is real. Now I need you to understand what I am not telling you. I am not saying the painful things were good. I am not standing above what you endured and calling it a blessing. Pain is not a gift. Loss is not a reward. What came against you was real, and it was painful. I know exactly how painful it was. I was there during every hour, not observing from far away, but present in the same room where you sat by yourself and wondered how much longer you could continue. I never turned away. I have never turned away from you. There is something I need you to remember before anything more is spoken. I was not untouched by what you went through. I did not watch it the way someone watches from behind glass, at a safe distance, unaffected. I was walking through it with you. Every night that lasted too long, every morning that came without relief, every moment when the silence seemed like an answer you were afraid to accept. I was present through every part of it. And what I was doing during those moments was not nothing. I was not only waiting for you to survive until you reached the other side. I was carrying what you could not carry. I was protecting what the pressure wanted to break. That work was real even though you could not sense it taking place. And it mattered. What I put inside you was already there long before this season began. The pressure did not form it. The pressure exposed it. And what it exposed was something rare enough to make heaven become still and pay attention. You protected your integrity when releasing it would have been easier. You remained truthful when dishonesty would have been simpler. You stayed when staying was the more difficult choice and when the people you trusted disappointed you. You did not become hard in the way pain usually hardens someone. You stayed open. You remained willing. That is not nothing. Those are not little things. To human eyes, they may look like nothing. To heaven they hold great weight. There are people who appear certain on the outside but are empty within. There are people who look powerful in front of others and fall apart when no one is present. What I saw in you was the opposite. In public you were often unsure. You questioned. You were afraid. You passed through long periods where hope felt like something you could no longer fully hold. But in the place nobody else could see, in the quiet center where a person's true character remains, there was something steady, something firm, something that would not completely accept the judgment being spoken over your life, by the trouble, by the disappointment, by the voices saying you were ordinary and unimportant. Heaven sees that place. I created it, and what I found there moved me. Not as a figure of speech, not as a comforting phrase, but in the way truth moves the one who understands the cost of making something remain. Now I want to tell you what was found in that hidden place. I want to call it by its name. I want you to hear it clearly without doubt weakening it before it reaches your heart. Because what this season uncovered about you is not small. It is the kind of thing that changes how you understand your past, your present, and the path you are about to enter. So before I tell you everything more, before I speak about what comes next, what is changing, and what is being released over your life, accept this one truth first. You were not overlooked. You were never left behind. The silence was not emptiness. Everything you lived through was fully seen from the first moment the pressure began to the final hour of the longest night. And what was discovered inside you when the weight was at its greatest, that is what I have come to speak with you about today. There is a name for what I discovered inside you, but I want to come to it slowly because when most people first hear this word spoken about them, they reject it. They shake their heads. They remember all the reasons it could never be true. The word is rare. Not rare because you have never failed. Not rare because you are above the people near you. Rare because of what remained beneath the pressure. Rare because of what stayed when nearly everything else seemed gone. When betrayal arrived, I looked for bitterness. In many people, bitterness comes quickly after pain. It seems understandable in a certain way. The wound is real. What caused it was unfair. And bitterness can feel like some kind of control over the situation, like a way to avoid feeling powerless. But when betrayal came into your life, and it did come, I watched your heart. And what I saw was not bitterness growing roots. There was hurt, genuine hurt. But bitterness could not find a place to hold. Something within you kept releasing the very thing that should have filled you with poison. Not immediately, not without struggle. But you continued to release it. That is not usual. When the silence lasted longer than you thought it would, when answers never appeared and explanations were not given, I watched for what normally enters that space in the hearts of most people. Long silence creates anger in many people, or surrender, or the slow, quiet choice to stop believing. In you, the silence caused pain. I will not pretend it did not, but below that pain, you kept something alive that most people let go of in those seasons. You kept reaching small, quiet, sometimes almost not reaching at all, but you never became completely silent toward me. You kept the connection open even when you heard nothing in return. That is the kind of faith that matters. Not the faith that speaks loudly when life is going well. The faith that sits in a dark room and still whispers my name. Not because it feels anything, but because it refuses to release me completely. I found loyalty in you where other people walked away. Not the kind of loyalty that is easy when everything is going well. The kind that stays when staying has a cost. I found patience in places where frustration would have made complete sense. You were not patient because it felt easy. You were patient because something inside you kept choosing it, even when everything else pushed the other way. I found kindness still working in you. After people treated you without kindness, you still decided to remain gentle when you had every reason to become hard. You did not show that softness so people could notice it. I saw it in your private choices, in the way you treated others when no one was judging you, in the decisions you made when the only witnesses were you and me. That is the real measure of a person, not what they do where others can see. What they do when they are alone, tired, and the easier wrong choice is available. And I found something else, something even more difficult to keep after the kind of pain you experienced. I found that your ability to care about other people did not shut down. After being hurt yourself, there would have been no shame in stepping back, protecting yourself, and deciding you already carried enough without also carrying the pain of others. But that is not what you did. You stayed open. You still felt the weight of other people's struggles. Even while carrying your own, you still made space. You still showed up. That is not common in someone who has gone through what you have gone through. That combination, loyalty under pressure, faith that remains through long silence, compassion that survives personal pain, does not happen by itself. I have watched people pass through great pressure and come out closed, guarded, unreachable, hardened in the way something becomes when the life has been pressed out of it. What you came out carrying was different. You came out with something I can only call depth. Depth does not make an announcement. It does not ask to be noticed. It does not always even know that it is there, but it appears when it is needed. It appears in the way you handle things that are too heavy for a shallow person to hold. It appears in the choices you make when no one is looking and the easier wrong is directly in front of you. It appears in the way you enter a room even now, even after all of it, still carrying something that has not been emptied. You have depth, my child. It was formed through things that cost you, through seasons that demanded more than you believed you had, through moments when the only path through was to keep going through. And what was formed in those moments is real. It is not a feeling or an idea. It is something firm. It has already been tested under conditions meant to break it, and it remained. You believed those seasons meant something was wrong with you. You compared yourself with people who looked further ahead, people who seemed to be moving while you felt unable to move. But that comparison was never fair. Their road was not your road. Their timing was not your timing. And what was being formed in you during that period was something that cannot be built while moving quickly. It is formed in slow places, in quiet places, in places where there is nothing left to do except hold on. You held on. And what was discovered in you because of that is something heaven has not remained silent about. Most people will never know what was discovered, but you were brought to this moment for a reason. And this is the reason. Heaven has something to tell you that has been held back long enough. Declare your amen if you have faith. The attacks you faced were not random. I need you to understand this clearly, because many people look at the pain they have lived through and reach one of two conclusions. Either they were unlucky, or somehow they deserved it. Neither of those is what happened to you. The attacks that came against you were specific and targeted. That is not something to treat lightly. You do not send focused pressure against something ordinary. You do not use careful effort trying to destroy something that carries no threat. The enemy examined you before he acted, and what he saw made him afraid. He saw what I had placed within you. He could not create it. He could not remove it. But he could try to make you leave it behind by your own choice. He could not erase your calling. But if he could make you stop believing in it, if he could make you look at yourself and decide you were ordinary, unimportant, and too damaged to matter, then what I placed inside you would remain asleep, not destroyed, but inactive and unused. And that was what he wanted. So the attack did not arrive in an obvious form. It came softly. It came as a repeated suggestion. That suggestion appeared in many ways. You are behind. You are not like everyone else. You have lost too much time. The things that wounded you have changed you forever. You will always remain at this same place. No one who truly knows you stays. These were not meaningless thoughts. They were planted for a reason. The enemy does not spend effort on things that do not matter to him. The steady nature of the pressure is itself a sign. It shows you that something important was being fought over. There were moments when you believed those lies. I will not act as if you did not. There were seasons when you looked at yourself and mainly saw the damage. when you compared yourself to others and left feeling small. When the whisper saying you had been overlooked felt more real than anything I had spoken over you. You nearly accepted that conclusion. You almost placed your name beneath the sentence saying your story was finished. But you could never fully agree with it. Each time you came close to accepting the worst as permanent, something pushed back. Not loudly, sometimes only as a small spark, a hesitation, an unwillingness to fully release the possibility that your story was not done. That resistance was not yours alone. It was also mine. I kept a thread of truth alive inside you even when the lies were speaking the loudest. I would not allow the truth of who you are to remain buried forever beneath deception, because what I placed in you is real, and real things do not come under the authority of the enemy. He had access to your circumstances. He never had access to your deepest core. So the lies entered through the side doors. He used comparison, placing people before you who appeared further ahead, more certain, more established. And slowly, comparison did what it always does. It made you judge your progress by a measure that was never made for your journey. You began checking your timing against someone else's calendar, your value against someone else's visible results. And that is an impossible way to measure anything true. He used shame. Shame over choices made in harder seasons. Shame over the gaps. Shame over what you had not yet done. Over what you had not yet become. Shame is a very specific kind of attack. It does not only say you did something wrong. It says there is something wrong with you. There is a difference. Conviction points to one thing and invites change. Shame points to your whole identity and tells you to hide. That was the goal. To make you pull away. To make you believe the best thing you could do for everyone was become smaller. But what I placed in you cannot be removed. Not by the weight of your past. Not by the mistakes that remain behind you. Not by the disappointment caused by people who should have been safe. Not by the seasons that lasted longer than you ever expected. None of those things have the authority to undo what I spoke into existence inside you. The enemy tried every entrance. He found your doubt and used it. He found your desire for approval and turned it against you. He found the places where you were most sensitive and pushed there. But what I wrote inside you was not written where pressure could reach it. He could bend you toward the lie. He could not make you fully belong to it. And that changed everything. You are still here. That is not a small thing. Every time the attack came and you did not remain completely gone, every time you returned, even unwillingly, even tired, even uncertain, the enemy's plan failed. Not loudly, not with a great display, but quietly, faithfully. He failed. My child, I am asking you to place a portion of what you have, something of real weight, upon the altar of this work, as gold laid on the scales of this calling. Let it be a seed sown into deep water, an offering set on stone, not held back in fear. This is proof that your trust rests in my hand to provide, and that your heart no longer clings to lack. What you release in faith does not leave your life. It moves ahead of you into the harvest I'm preparing. What was formed inside you through those attacks is still whole. The lies did not shape anything permanent in you. They came and pressed hard. But the foundation I built remained. The truth stayed alive beneath everything placed over it. And because it is still there, not destroyed, not canceled, it is now free to rise. I need you to understand something that may have hurt you at the time. The truth I am speaking to you now, I have known all along. It was never hidden from me. And there were moments, even whole seasons, when you cried out and asked me to show you who you were, to confirm your value, to tell you clearly what was happening, why it was happening, and where it was leading. And I remained silent. I want to explain that silence now because you deserve to understand it. Revelation does not rest well in a heart that is not yet ready to carry it. That is not a judgment against you. It is about structure. If I had spoken this truth too soon, before the shaping, before the stretching, before you learned the difference between people's approval and my direction, it would not have helped you. it would have worked against you. And I will not do what works against you, even when it feels like the thing you need most at that moment. There are two ways early revelation can harm a person. The first is pride. When someone learns something important and true about themselves before their character is ready to carry it, that truth can turn inward and become arrogance. They begin acting out an identity instead of truly carrying it. They stop depending on me because they believe they now have the answer about who they are. The very word I gave to steady them becomes something they use to stand above others. That was never what I intended for you. What I spoke over your life was always meant to ground you, not lift you above people, but plant you deeply enough to stand beside them and serve them with what you carry. The second is fear. For some people, hearing the size of what they carry before they are steady enough to receive it becomes too much. They pull back. They convince themselves it cannot truly be them. They run from the word instead of growing into it, and running from it leaves them more lost than not knowing it at all. I watched you closely through this season. I watched whether the difficulty was making you humble or making you hard. I watched whether the silence was deepening your trust or feeding bitterness. I watched the quiet work taking place inside you below the surface, where no one else could see, where no one was clapping or even aware that anything was being formed. And what I saw showed me that your character was moving towards something able to carry this truth. Your humility was becoming real, not something shown for others, but something genuine. Your patience was becoming steady. Your need for me was becoming greater than your need to be noticed. Those changes matter greatly because someone who needs me more than attention can carry revelation without being changed by it in the wrong way. The silence was not neglect. It was careful timing. I was not away from you. I was doing something more important than speaking. I was shaping the vessel so that what I poured into it would remain. You felt delayed. I understand that from where you stood, it looked like you were standing still while everyone else moved ahead. That feeling was real, and I am not ignoring it. But delay is not denial. Something formed with care takes longer than something rushed. What I was building in you was never meant to be rushed. The depth I placed inside you needs time. You cannot hurry roots. You cannot skip the hidden work and reach visible fruit with nothing real underneath it. The process had to be respected. So I respected it. And I want you to know that I understood what the silence cost you. I never treated it lightly. The silence also protected you in a way you could not understand then. Some things brought into the light too early are destroyed before they are strong enough to stand. Some flames started in the wrong season are put out before they become fire. I was not keeping something good away from you. I was protecting something good from being revealed before it was ready to stand against what would come. The seasons that felt like nothing was taking place were not empty. Things were happening inside you during those seasons that could not have happened in another way. When there were no outward signs of progress, there was inward growth. When there was nothing visible to prove the time had mattered, something unseen was being made secure. You were being shaped in the way true formation happens, slowly, quietly, without praise, without anyone watching. And you did not waste those seasons. Even when it seemed like you were only surviving them, something was being placed inside you that will remain longer than every hardship that brought you there. Now the shape is ready. Your character can carry what the calling asks. The humility is there to hold the truth without twisting it. The depth is there to receive revelation without turning it into pride. And that is why I am speaking now. Not before, not after, now. The timing was never meant to hurt you. It was care. Your value was never uncertain. It was settled before you ever had to prove anything. What I was waiting for was the right moment to place something into hands that were prepared to carry it. And those hands are ready now. There is something else I want to say that I do not want to move past. The silence was never about how well you performed. It was never me holding something back, because you had not done enough or believed strongly enough. Your worth was never the changing part. It was decided before you ever had to prove anything to me. What I delayed was not a judgment about your value. It was a decision about timing, and about what you were ready to receive. And now you are ready. You are not the same person you were when this road began. You have learned things that could not be learned in another way. And what I am placing in your hands now will not be wasted on the person you have become. I want to return to something simple, and say it clearly enough to reach the place where doubt still lives. You are not who the hardest things tried to turn you into. That sentence is not just encouraging language. It is a fact. The hardship that came against you had a clear purpose to define you, to reduce what you believed about yourself to the size of the worst things that happened to you. To make failure become your name, to let rejection place an identity on you that would quietly follow you into every new beginning and tell you the same outcome would happen again. That plan did not work. Not because you are stronger than everyone around you. Not because you did everything correctly. It did not work because what I wrote into you was written deeper than hardship could reach. I did not place your identity in your circumstances. I did not base it on your performance. I did not build it on the opinions of people who looked at you and saw less than what was truly there. I placed who you are at a depth that the surface of life cannot touch. And because of that, every attempt to write something else over it failed. The rejections did not remain at the level where your true identity lives. The failures added to your experience, but they could not change your definition. The seasons when you felt unseen did not erase the truth of what you carry. The comparisons that made you feel behind did not change the road I designed especially for you. You were never behind your purpose. You were always walking the path I prepared for you. Your path does not move by the same timing as everyone else's path. It never did. Measuring your growth by someone else's signs was never the right way to measure your life. I know that may be easy to say, but I need you to feel the truth of it, because comparison has taken more from you than you understand. Other people are not ahead of you. They are walking their own road and carrying what I gave them to carry. When you look at where someone else stands and compare it with where you are comparing two things that were never meant to be measured against each other. Your path belongs to you alone. Its shape, its timing, its speed, these were chosen with you personally in mind, not as a second thought, not as a weaker plan, but as a design. And what you are meant to carry is important. I do not say that so you become proud. I say it so you stop treating yourself as smaller than you truly are. You have developed a habit of making yourself small before anyone else gets the chance. A kind of early shrinking. If you reduce yourself first, the thought says, it will hurt less when other people do the same. But that habit has cost you. It has kept you from entering things with the confidence and steadiness that truly belong to you. What I placed inside you is not weak. It does not need to be protected by becoming small. It does not need you to hide it so it will not be attacked. It can handle being seen. It can remain steady when examined. It can be shown openly without breaking apart. You are allowed to know who you are. You are allowed to live from that truth. Not loudly, not in a way that demands attention or asks to be praised, but steadily, with the quiet confidence of someone who has settled the question of their own value. Not because your circumstances proved it, but because I spoke it. There is something more I want you to receive. The things that seem to work against you did not reduce what you carry. They proved it. A person carrying nothing does not become a target. What came against you revealed something about what lies ahead. There is something real at the end of this road that was worth trying to stop. You survived every attempt to define you by your worst seasons. You are standing on the other side of the pressure, and what you carried is still whole. That is not an accident. That is what happens when what is inside a person cannot be touched by what is outside them. What I placed in you cannot be removed. Let that rest inside you. Let it reach the places that still partly believe the old lies. Let it go deeper than the surface. You are not who the hardest things tried to make you. You are who I say you are. And what I say about you has never changed. Declare, I receive this today. If your heart is open, I also need to speak about the way you talk about yourself, because the words that leave your mouth about who you are matter more than you have realized. There is a pattern that forms when someone has lived through a long season of pressure. They begin to agree with the language of that season. They say things like, I am too far behind. I do not know if I am made for this. I have never been good at trusting. I am always the one people leave. Those words feel honest because they seem to match the evidence, but they do not describe the truth of who you are. They describe the story the hardest seasons tried to write over you. Stop speaking those words. Not because the feelings are false. The feelings are real, but feelings are not definitions. What happened to you is real, but what happened is not your identity. You do not have to tell the story of your life using the language of the worst things that happened inside it. Begin speaking about yourself in a different way. Not with large declarations you do not believe yet, only with corrections. When the old language returns, and it will return, stop it. Say quietly, that is not who I am. Heaven has spoken something different. And let what I have said today become the word that answers it. You are rare. You are faithful. You stayed when staying cost you something. Those are the words that fit what was found in you. Those are the words I am speaking over your life today. And what I speak never returns empty. A shift is beginning, and I want to prepare you for it. What was built in secret will not remain hidden forever. That is not how I work. I do not build things in darkness so they can stay there forever. The hidden season had a purpose, and it has completed that purpose. But what was formed in you during the quiet season was not formed to remain silent. It was formed to be used, to begin working, to do what it was made to do. I want to be clear about what I mean when I say a season of visibility is coming, because that phrase can be misunderstood, and I do not want you pursuing the wrong thing. I am not promising fame. I am not saying the world will notice you in some public way. That is not the kind of visibility I am speaking about. What I mean is simpler and more important than that. The things you carry, the depth, the steadiness, the compassion, the quiet authority that was formed in you through pressure, these things will be needed. They will be called upon. Situations will rise around you that need exactly what was built in you through your hardest seasons. People will enter your life who are living in the kind of darkness you once walked through. And because you went through it honestly, without avoiding it, without pretending your way to the other side, you will have something real to give them. That is the visibility I am speaking about. You will be placed where what you carry is needed. And what you give in those moments will not be advice spoken from a safe distance. It will carry the weight of someone who has truly been there and came through still holding something that remained. That kind of presence changes things in ways performance never can. It is the difference between someone who has read a map and someone who has walked the road. People know the difference. They can feel when someone speaks from real experience. And what you have to give comes from that place. Now, let me speak about something that may happen as this shift begins. As things start changing, as doors begin opening, as you find yourself in more visible places, the old voice of comparison may come back. It will look at what others have and tell you that you are still not enough, that your path is not as clean as theirs, that you carry too much history, that the people who are further ahead somehow arrived without carrying what you have carried. Do not agree with that voice. You have learned something in this season that many people never learn in their whole lives. You have learned that approval is not the foundation. That what I say about you holds more authority than anything the visible world displays. Enter this new season with that settled. Not guarded. Not working hard to keep it. Simply settled. The way someone enters a room when they know they belong there, not announcing it, not defending it, simply comfortable in that truth. What was built in silence will speak openly. What was formed in hiddenness will be shown in the light, and it will carry authority because it was not created through performance. It was forged, it was tested before it was released. That is why it will remain under pressure, because it already has. Move forward without competing. Move forward without performing. Move forward in the way I formed you to move. With depth, with steadiness, with the quiet confidence that comes from knowing who you are, not because the world confirmed it, but because I spoke it. There is something I want to place before you as this season changes. I want you to understand the weight of what is moving. This is not a small change of direction. This is the ground shifting beneath your whole life. The things I planted during the quiet years are ready. The roots that grew in darkness are ready to feed something that will stand in the light. Do not make what is coming smaller. Do not step back because its size feels unfamiliar. You were formed for what is coming. The shaping was planned. The stretching was specific. The things I allowed were not random. They were the exact conditions needed to form what you now carry. And what you carry now is exactly what the next season needs. So move with steadiness, with depth, with the quiet authority of someone who passed through the fire and discovered that what I placed inside them could not burn. Say yes if you are ready to move forward. I also want to tell you something about what you will find on the other side of this shift that you may not expect. You will discover that the things you believed disqualified you are the very things that make you believable. The places where you struggled are the places where people will trust you most. The seasons when you felt most unseen are the seasons that will give your words the greatest weight. This is not how the world works. The world values what looks polished and prepared. But I work in another way. I use what the world ignores. I place weight in what the world passes over. And the person who stood in the quiet places and refused to quit, that is the person I trust to carry what must go further. You are entering a season where what you have lived through carries more authority than what you have performed. Let that reach you. Let it settle into the way you see yourself and what you carry. The hidden season has completed its work. What was formed is ready, and the one who formed it says, "Go." I want to end by bringing you back to where I began because it matters, and I do not want you to move beyond it too quickly. You left me speechless. Not in a dramatic way. Not as a phrase chosen only to make you feel better. I mean something very clear by it. When I look at everything you walked through, not only the best parts, not only the easier moments, but the full weight of the hardest seasons, the long silence, the moments when everything around you told you to stop, and I look at what remained inside you, what held in the middle of all of it, I am moved in a way that words cannot fully explain. You are stronger than you have allowed yourself to believe. Not stronger because nothing affected you. You were affected. I saw it. You were shaken, pressed, worn down, confused, hurt by situations and people who should have been safe. Your strength is not the strength of someone who felt nothing. It is the strength of someone who felt everything and still did not break at the center. That is a different kind of strength. It does not appear impressive from the outside. It does not make noise. But when the pressure is real, when the cost is high, and the easy way out is directly in front of you, this is the strength that remains. And remaining when remaining costs you something is the only measure that truly matters in the end. My child, I need you to change the way you speak about yourself. Not in a dramatic way, not with statements that feel empty. Simply stop using words that do not agree with what I have told you today. Stop saying you are weak when you have carried things that would have broken most people apart. Stop saying you are forgotten when I have watched every part of it. Stop saying you are behind when your road was never supposed to follow anyone else's speed. Stop agreeing with the words that the hardest seasons tried to make permanent. Those words explain the attack. They do not explain the truth. Speak with more care. When the old language returns, and it will, let what was spoken today interrupt it quietly and steadily. That is not who I am. Heaven has spoken something different over me. Let the correction remain simple and strong. Let it become a settled choice. You are not behind. You are walking the path I chose for you. You are not forgotten. My eyes have remained on you through all of it. You are not too damaged. What broke the surface never reached what I secured at the center. And you are not ordinary. What was discovered inside you when the pressure was at its highest is the kind of thing that makes heaven pause and notice. Hear this clearly. This message belongs to you, not to someone who has life more together than you, not to someone who has believed longer or suffered less. This is for you, the person standing here in this moment, carrying exactly what you carry, with exactly the past you have. I am not speaking to a perfect version of you. I am speaking to the real one, and the real one is exactly who I am saying these things about. The silence is ending. What was formed in the hidden places is ready to come into the open. What was built inside you belongs in the next chapter of your life. Carry it with the steadiness that was formed in you. Carry it with the humility that the long seasons created. Carry it with the quiet confidence of someone who knows they did not survive alone, and knows they will not be alone in what comes next. Before you leave, I want you to pause right now, wherever you are, and allow what just happened to settle inside you. You received a word, not from someone who watched you from the outside and gave you general encouragement. A word spoken by the one who formed you, by the one who has seen the inside of every season you walked through, the ones you shared with others, and the ones you never told anyone about. From the one who found something rare inside you, when you believed there was nothing worth seeing. Let it reach you. Let it move beyond the surface where the old habit of rejecting good things remains. Let it enter the place where doubt has been staying. Let it speak there. Let it begin replacing what was never true. You are rare, not only as praise, but as truth. What was found inside you during this season, beneath the weight, throughout the long silence, in the moments no one else witnessed, had to be placed there on purpose, and then tested through pressure, and it has been tested. The testing proved what I always knew was there. Now live according to it, not loudly, only differently from how you lived before hearing this. Walk with a little more confidence. Speak about yourself with a little more care. Stop apologizing for taking up space. What I placed inside you was meant to be shown, not hidden. It was meant to be carried into the world. The season ahead belongs to what was formed in the seasons behind you. And the one who formed it says, you are ready. It is time. Move forward, my beloved child. Not struggling, not competing, not watching everything everyone else is doing. Just forward, with depth, with steadiness, with the settled understanding of someone who passed through the fire and discovered that what I placed inside them did not melt. I am with you. I remained with you through every part of it, and I will remain with you through everything that is still ahead. What I spoke over you today does not end. It does not disappear when the feeling is gone. It remains because I stand behind it. Carry it, live it, let it become the new foundation on which the next season of your life is built. Declare Amen as a seal over every word spoken to you today. We run on viewer support only. For exclusive member-only content, scan the QR or see the pinned comment. God bless you.